Chapter 2236. Rick was speechless at Cece's words. She sounded like she was complaining, but Cece looked very pitiful. The four of them stood in front of Huamin's house in the dead of winter, looking silly and weird. Cece was wearing pajamas, so Huamin was worried that she would catch a cold. "Cece, let me get you a jacket," Huamin said. Cece shook her head and said, "No, Sister Mion, I'm not cold. Also, can you and President Qin do me a favor?" Cece sounded very sad. Huamin and Qin Chu looked at each other and nodded. "Go ahead, Cece. Can we have a few words in private?" Hearing Cece's request, Qin Chu and Huamin immediately felt that they were unnecessary. Then Qin Chu put his arm around Huamin's shoulder and walked back. "It's cold outside, Rick. Why don't you bring Cece in for a chat?" Looking at the freezing weather outside, Huamin couldn't bear to see the two of them standing outside like idiots. "No, I think he really doesn't want to see me. I won't take up too much of his time. Let's just talk," Cece said firmly. Rick didn't say anything. He just took off his jacket and put it on Cece. He put it on Cece. Cece looked at this man. He was still the same as before. Even the way he treated her was different from others. She was so angry that she took off the jacket and threw it on the ground. "I don't need your fake kindness." Cece looked at Rick and said, "I'm not being fake. I really don't want you to get cold," Rick explained calmly. "Then I'll freeze to death," Cece said angrily. Huamin and Qin Chu had already entered the house and were standing there. The atmosphere was very awkward. Rick didn't say anything. He lowered his head and bent down to pick up the black jacket that Cece threw on the ground. Then they put it on for Cece. "I told you I don't need your pity, I don't need your fake kindness." Cece took off her jacket and threw it on the ground mercilessly. He didn't give Rick any face at all and even made him lose face. The bodyguards in the distance were furious. It was as if he wanted to teach this arrogant woman a lesson. However, Rick raised his hand and stopped them. "Get lost. No one is allowed to come over." He spoke in perfect English. When the bodyguards heard this, they stopped in their tracks and didn't dare to move. "Cece, between us." Rick seemed to want to say something. But Cece didn't give him a chance because as soon as he opened his mouth, she threw herself into Rick's arms. She wrapped her arms tightly around his neck. The long-lost fragrance slowly penetrated his nose, and Rick's eyes actually moistened in an instant. This girl always gave him too many mysterious feelings. Perhaps only when he was with her did he feel that he had a heart. He was not a homicidal maniac, nor was he some underworld godfather. "Cece." He called her name gently. "Don't say it. Let me say it, okay?" Cece's voice was trembling. "Hey, say it." Rick really wanted to hug the woman in front of him. But his rationality told him not to do so. He had to endure it because he and Cece were already in two different worlds. It was impossible. So even though he clenched his fists tightly, he still didn't move. "Rick, you're so cruel. You actually ignored me for 3 years. I thought you wouldn't forget me, but who knew that the person you couldn't forget was me? You're even more cruel than me. You didn't even see me when you came back. If Pudding didn't tell me, maybe I wouldn't have been able to see you. I just want to ask you, what did I do wrong? Why are you so cruel to me?" Cece lay in Rick's arms crying as she asked. Her tear-stained face was really heartbreaking. Chapter 2237. "Cece, I'm sorry." Rick had no choice but to apologize to Cece at this moment. He was really sorry. "I don't want to hear you say sorry." Cece sobbed as she leaned against his chest. Looking at the crying Cece, Rick finally couldn't help but raise his hands, which he didn't know where to put, and then hugged her. At that moment he felt as if the whole world had fallen silent. It was -20 degrees Celsius. They stood there and hugged each other silently. Inside the room, Huamin was worried. "Honey, do you think they're going to be the same as before?" Cece isn't worried that they won't reveal their feelings. Rick's personality can be so boring sometimes. Huamin said worriedly. "Let's just leave it to fate. Everyone has the right to choose their own path." "I understand Rick's situation," Qin Chu said quietly. "Then who's going to understand Cece? It's not easy for a girl. She's going to ruin her life when she sees Rick." Huamin looked at the problem from a girl's point of view. He also saw Cece as the weak one. "Honey, let's not talk about this. We should ask Pudding what she wants." Qin Chu brought up the key issue. "If you didn't mention it, I would have forgotten. I'll call her now." Huamin picked up his phone and video called Pudding. "Oh, Mommy." Pudding seemed to be in a good mood. Pudding, did you call Auntie Cece? Huamin asked. Yes, you're right, Pudding admitted confidently. Why did you do that? Do you know how much trouble you've caused Uncle Rick? Huamin said seriously. Mommy, stop pretending. Didn't you always want them to get back together? Pudding asked calmly. Who said that? Huamin felt guilty. Do you even need to say it? Your expression is written all over your face. How do you know Auntie Cece's phone number? Huamin was curious. The last time she came to visit us, I added her on WeChat. But to be honest, Auntie Cece is really innocent. Is she suitable for Uncle Rick, who's so cunning? What do you think? Pudding, now's not the time to discuss whether it's suitable or not. The question is, if you spill the beans, will it have a big impact on this matter? Chin-Chu couldn't help but speak up when he saw that his wife couldn't convince his daughter after talking for so long and was almost confused by her. Daddy, calm down. Feelings can't be forced. If they are fated, they will be together no matter what, even if they are at the ends of the world. But if they are not fated, it will be useless even if I try to matchmake them 100 times. You should know this. Well, that's true. As expected, Chin-Chu was finally convinced by his daughter's words. If that's the case, then let's continue to swim. You two continue to observe and let me know if you find anything. Then Pudding hung up the phone, leaving her parents dumbfounded. Honey, that phone call was meaningless. Huamin finally realized that he wanted to ask his daughter why she spilled the beans. In the end, his daughter convinced him with the theory of fate. So, Pudding has successfully brainwashed us? Chin-Chu sighed. Oh my god, this child is really... Huamin's heart couldn't be described with the word collapse. Having 2 children in the family was really a mixture of sadness and joy. Chin-Chu and Huamin were discussing their daughter in the room. The 2 of them were still in a deadlock. Godfather, we should go. The helicopter is here, one of his men urged. Chapter 2238. When Cece heard that Rick was going to leave, she grabbed his clothes tightly and refused to let go. Cece. Rick wanted to say something but stopped. Can I not go? She didn't know that she was so spineless. She wanted to hit him, scold him and blame him, but from the moment she saw him she forgot everything and only hugged him affectionately. No matter how hard Rick's heart was, when he saw Cece like this, his heart would still soften. When she said, "Can I not go?" he was really shaken. Godfather, we don't have much time. The subordinate urged for the second time. Rick was furious. He took out his gun and pointed it at the man. Shut up, he said. The subordinates and bodyguards were so scared that they didn't dare to move. Cece reached out and grabbed Rick's hand that was holding the gun, then slowly slid it to her chest. Rick, I'm in so much pain. Just kill me. Shoot me and everything will be over. I've been so tired for the past 3 years. I'm not interested in anything. I know it's useless to say this, but if I lose you, I'm really like a zombie. There's no joy in living. Maybe I'm too much of a failure as a person and I can't make you stay with me. So instead of this, I'd rather die in your hands. I know I can't keep you around forever, so please, for the sake of us being together, grant me my wish. Cece's words were so painful that Rick's heart was broken. Cece, don't be like this. Rick, who was a man of few words, didn't know what to say at this moment. He didn't dare to see Cece, not because he was afraid that she would pester him and not because he didn't want to see her. It was because he liked her too much that he avoided her. He was afraid that he would lose control and make a decision that he would regret. With Rick's current identity as the godfather of the underworld, he no longer gave Cece happiness and stability. He gave her the chance to die at any time, so he couldn't. But now Cece was standing in front of him, forcing him to die. His heart was bleeding. That feeling was so painful that he wanted to die. When Huamin saw the scene, he was so scared that his face turned pale. He even wanted to come out. However, she was stopped by Chin-Chu. Honey, it's better for them to solve their own problems. We can't help them. Chin-Chu understood Rick's inner struggle, so he empathized with his feelings at this moment. Hubby, Huamin said softly. If you were Rick and I was Cece, would you do the same to me? Huamin suddenly became very pessimistic and sad and made a hypothetical. Chin-Chu hugged her waist tightly from behind, then leaned over and whispered in her ear, "To me you are my whole world, so... But no matter what, I will not leave you." Weren't you? Before Huamin could finish his sentence, Chin-Chu interrupted him. Every time I left you before, it was so that we could be together in the future. But Rick didn't do that. He wanted to leave forever for Cece's safety. Then Cece is so pitiful. After hearing what Chin Chu said, Huamin sighed. No, I think Rick is the more pitiful one. He can't say anything and he keeps everything in his heart. Chin Chu disagreed with Huamin on this matter. As the two of them chatted, a gunshot broke the silence of the night. Huamin and Chin Chu immediately pushed open the door and ran out. They saw Cece pull the trigger while holding Rick's hand. Rick's black gun opened a bright red flower on Cece's chest. Cece. At this moment, Rick's consciousness finally collapsed. Cece's body went limp and she slowly fell into Rick's arms. Chapter 2239. Cece. Rick couldn't think straight anymore. He hugged Cece tightly and called her name. He thought Cece would only scare him to make him stay, but he didn't expect her to pull the trigger without warning. Everything happened so suddenly that he didn't have time to react. All he could think about was Cece. Cece was lying in his arms on the verge of death. Then you won't leave me. She forced herself to say it. Her body and mind were very weak and she even smiled. Rick felt a tearing pain in his heart. The pain came one after another and he couldn't stop. He hugged Cece and his tears finally came out like a broken dam. Cece, don't sleep. Wake up. Huamin rushed back. Chin Chu, help me save Cece. I can't let her die. Rick looked at Chin Chu like a helpless child. Huamin didn't understand Rick's coldness. Was she angry? She looked at Rick and shouted, save what? Let's just kill her. I don't want to be tortured by you after she's saved. Honey, calm down. Chin Chu placed his hand on her shoulder. How can I calm down? Look at Cece now. Huamin was also very agitated. Let's save her first. We can talk about the rest later. Chin Chu left. He carried Cece in his arms and put her in the car. Luckily, South Hill Manor was very close to South Side. They took a short time to send Cece to the hospital. Chin Chu changed into his doctor's clothes and followed them into the operating room. Huamin was emotionally unstable, so Chin Chu left him outside. Before Chin Chu went in, Rick held his hand and said, Brother, I'll leave her to you. Chin Chu understood what he meant. Rick trusted him. He nodded. Don't worry. I'll save her. After Chin Chu entered the operating room, Huamin and Rick waited outside. Huamian didn't say a word to him. Perhaps she thought that Rick was responsible for everything that had happened to Cece and that he was the culprit. She was a beautiful girl with a harmonious family and a few good friends. He came from a good family and studied abroad. She was sweet and cute. She was such a winner in life, but because she fell in love with someone like Rick who had a special identity and a cold personality, she became what she was today. Huamin felt that Cece was not worth it. Dr. Chin, the patient's heart rate is very unstable. It's about to stop. The nurse said anxiously. He gave Chin Chu a big problem right from the start. Because Cece wanted to die, the part of her body that was shot happened to be her heart, which was the most important part. Electric shock. Chin Chu made a prompt decision without any hesitation. The operation lasted for more than 4 hours. Rick's men did not dare to urge their godfather to leave. From evening to the wee hours of the morning, the 4 of them spent their time in the hospital. At 1:00 in the morning, Chin Chu came out of the operating room tiredly and took off his mask. Huamin and Rick rushed to him immediately. Honey, how is Cece? Huamin asked first. The bullet has been removed. She needs to be under observation for 48 hours. Chin Chu answered. Huamin and Rick were relieved to hear Chin Chu's words. Chin, I want to see her. Rick said in a low voice. Not now. She's not out of danger yet. She needs to be observed in a sterile environment. You can see her through the glass door. Chin Chu suggested. Huamin looked at Rick angrily. I'm telling you, her life could be in danger at any time. If Cece dies, you'll feel guilty for the rest of your life. Do you understand? Chapter 2240. I know. Rick didn't avoid Huamin's accusation. Honey, I'm so hungry. Chin Chu changed the topic so that his wife wouldn't be a burden to Rick. Huamin held onto Chin Chu's hand, heartbroken. Let's go home. I'll cook you some noodles. Chin Chu nodded and turned to Rick. Don't worry, she'll be fine. Rick nodded, knowing that he didn't need to say anything. On the way home, Huamin was still angrily criticizing Rick for his coldness towards Cece. Chin Chu didn't say anything. He waited for Huamin to finish before saying, Honey, Rick isn't as heartless as you think. It's just his personality. He was born into a family like that, so his childhood was destined to be less happy than others. He was under a lot of pressure and didn't know how to fall in love or how to protect someone. His family taught him how to kill. We're not Rick, we're not in his shoes, so we can't treat him the same way. Humph, so you're speaking up for your brother? Huamin pouted. Okay, let's not fight over this. Someone just said he was going to cook me some noodles. No, go eat instant noodles. Huamin pretended to be angry. Fine. Even though her husband just had a major surgery and is exhausted, his wife doesn't care about him. She wants him to eat instant noodles, so let him eat them. After all, instant noodles are junk food. If he eats too much, his stomach will be damaged. When that happens, he'll have to rely on his wife to take care of him. Mr. Qin complained on purpose. Huamin's heart softened. Okay, stop nagging. I'm going to cook some noodles. Wait here and you should go take a shower. You smell like formalin. Isn't this your favorite smell? Qin Chu joked. I love it when I'm at work, but not when I'm home. My house must always be filled with the smell of rice. After that, Huamin went straight into the kitchen to cook noodles for her husband. Outside Southside, Rick was now outside the glass door looking at Cici. He knew that Qin Chu and Huamin were right. Cici was still in danger and could leave him at any time. Cici, you have to wake up. I don't want to lose you. Thinking about what Cici had said before she fainted, Rick felt as if someone had ruthlessly rubbed his heart. Yunding Mountain Pudding and Little Bean were swimming with their grandparents. Qin Ning, on the other hand, liked outdoor hot springs. He was soaking in the hot spring water alone in the ginseng pool. Snowflakes were still floating in the sky, landing on her black hair and forming ice droplets. She was extremely beautiful. At this moment her phone rang. It was a WeChat message. She immediately picked up her phone from the rock beside her. In the end, he was a little disappointed. It turned out to be his overseas father. Nowadays he was really keeping up with the times. His father was also using WeChat and would send him red packets from time to time. Where are Pudding and Little Bean? I want to see them, Qin Ning's father said in a voice message. They're not with me. They're swimming indoors with Uncle. You can video call Uncle. Wait, you didn't see that brat from the Tang family when you went back, right? Qin Ning's father had been angry ever since Tang Chuan ran away last time. He felt that this brat didn't love his daughter and didn't want to be a live-in son-in-law, so he ran away in the middle of the night. In fact, he didn't know that Tang Chuan didn't leave because of this. Dad, can you stop asking about me? Qin Ning was very annoyed. She put down her phone and muttered to herself, that brat from the Tang family. Who wants to see him? However, at this moment she heard a voice behind her. You're not a good baby when you talk bad about others. Qin Ning was startled. She turned around and was dumbfounded. Why are you here? Chapter 2241. Why can't I be here? I'm here to soak in the hot spring. You're doing business here, so why can't I come? Tang Chuan laughed. Ever since he knew that Qin Ning was back, Tang Chuan had been in a good mood. You came by yourself? Qin Ning looked around and didn't see Tang Chuan with any female companions. She was secretly happy. You don't have to. I really came by myself. Tang Chuan laughed. Perhaps Qin Ning felt that she was being too obvious, so she immediately explained, I mean, you didn't come with Su Yu and the others? No, it's almost Chinese New Year. Lord Su is very busy these days. He has to go back to his hometown with the Su family to worship their ancestors. Oh, what about you? You don't have to worship your ancestors? Qin Ning looked at Tang Chuan and asked. Me, of course I do. I went there early and ran back. I didn't go with my dad and the others. I burned some paper for my great-grandfather alone. I hope that he will bless me and help me marry a good wife this year. After hearing this, Qin Ning's cheeks flushed slightly. Then Tang Chuan continued, It doesn't matter if I'm a live-in son-in-law or not. The most important thing is that you have me in your heart. I don't want to get married not because of love. After all, it's such a precious thing. It might only happen once in a lifetime. You're so talkative. Qin Ning turned her head away, too embarrassed to look at Tang Chuan. She looked away. When did you come back? You didn't even tell me? I could have held a welcoming party for you. Tang Chuan came up and looked at Qin Ning in a colorful bikini swimsuit. His blood was about to boil. Because Chinese New Year was approaching, there weren't many people in the hot spring hotel. Especially the outdoor hot spring, the temperature was too low. Qin Ning was the only one there. So when Tang Chuan came, he found that this was a good place to talk. Why should I tell you? You didn't tell me when you left. Qin Ning was still angry when she thought about how Tang Chuan left her house in the middle of the night without saying goodbye last time. I didn't. I left my last words. No, I left a note. Don't lie. What note? You didn't see it? Qin Ning played dumb. Oh, little girl, you're really shameless. Tang Chuan laughed. Anyway, I didn't see any note. I knew someone had been living and eating at my place for more than 20 days, but in the end he just left. How disloyal. The more Qin Ning spoke, the prouder she became. That sounds like it. Why don't I compensate you? Tang Chuan smirked. How? Qin Ning was surprised. I've been playing around since I was young, so I don't know much. How about this? I won't make things difficult for myself, and you don't make things difficult for me either. I only know a very professional skill, and I'll show it to you. What skill? Hearing Tang Chuan's serious tone, Qin Ning really fell for it. Tang Chuan moved his mouth closer to Qin Ning's ear and whispered, "Warm the bed, Tang Chuan, you pervert." Qin Ning was furious and immediately slapped Tang Chuan on the shoulder. Tang Chuan laughed. Pervert? That's a good word to use. I think I can take it, hee hee. What kind of person is this? Instead of being ashamed, you're proud. You're the best in the world. Qin Ning was so amused by Tang Chuan that she didn't know what to say. However, it had to be said that this opening wasn't awkward at all. It was very lively. Tang Chuan was still the playboy from before, and Qin Ning was still the sometimes domineering and sometimes cute little girl. Hey Ning Ning, let's stop messing around. If I tease you again, you'll really get angry. Let's be honest, I miss you a lot. Tang Chuan looked at Qin Ning and said gently. Qin Ning felt that somewhere deep in her heart was beginning to throb. Chapter 2242. Tang Chuan's straightforward words made Qin Ning blush. So Ning Ning, did you miss me? Tang Chuan asked. I didn't miss you. Qin Ning raised her voice guiltily. You didn't miss me? Fine, it seems like I was overthinking. When I heard that you came back, I was very excited. I even thought that you were brought back for me. But I know that's not the case. You just happened to come back for the spring festival. It's okay, I'm happy to see you. You're still so beautiful, I'm happy for you. Tang Chuan looked at Qin Ning and said word by word. Tang Chuan. Qin Ning actually had a lot of things to say to him, but when the words reached her mouth, they became hesitant. It seemed that Qin Ning lacked experience. She didn't understand the inexplicable courage needed to be in love. Seeing her hesitate again, Tang Chuan was slightly disappointed. It's good to see you. It's getting late, I'm going to go now. Have fun. Tang Chuan turned around and walked out of the hot spring. Qin Ning really wanted him to stay, but she didn't know what to say. She was so anxious that her heart was spinning. Just as she was hesitating, she suddenly felt her body warm up. Someone hugged her tightly. Then her slightly cold lips were gently bitten by someone. Tang Chuan really wanted to leave because he realized that Qin Ning's attitude was still the same as before. He didn't know what was going on and he hated it. He wanted to know what she was thinking. He wanted to know if he meant anything to her. Then he gathered his courage, turned around the moment he stepped out of the hot spring, and quickly swam to Qin Ning's side. Then before she could react, he opened his arms and hugged her. Then he kissed her again. Perhaps because of her previous experience, Qin Ning didn't break down as badly this time. At first, when she came to her senses, she subconsciously wanted to push him away. However, after 2 tries, she realized that she couldn't move him at all. Qin Ning decided to just go with the flow and stopped struggling. Tang Chuan's kiss gradually made her feel different. It was a little ticklish, as if a small fish was swimming in her heart. It was especially comfortable and warm. Gradually, not only did she stop resisting, but she even responded awkwardly. Feeling that Qin Ning was trying her best to respond to him, Tang Chuan was so excited that he almost died. He hugged Qin Ning tightly and kissed her even more passionately. The two of them kissed passionately. On the other side, the twins were extremely bored after swimming and ran over to play with their little aunt. It was quite shocking to see such a scene. Little Bean. Sis, what did I see? Was it an illusion? Pudding. Absolutely not, because I saw it too. Little Bean. So, those people are Uncle Tang and Auntie Qin, right? Pudding. Yes, they are kissing. Looks like. Little Bean. It's so sudden. I'm not mentally prepared at all. What are we going to do now? Should we rush up and separate them? Pudding, we better not. Uncle Tang will hate us to death. Little Bean, then are we just going to watch Auntie Chin suffer? Pudding, I think Auntie Chin is enjoying it. Little Bean, sis, are you sure your analysis is correct? Pudding, why don't you try to separate them? Little Bean, nah, it's my first time seeing such an intimate scene up close. Oh right, I need to record it with my phone. Pudding, why? Little Bean, with this video I can blackmail Uncle Tang for Haagen-Dazs. If he doesn't agree, I'll send it to second grandpa to see how other people bully his daughter. Then I'll break his legs. Pudding gave her a thumbs up. You're really unscrupulous for food. The two sisters calmly watched the scene unfold. After the kiss, Qin Ning inadvertently glanced over. When she saw the twins, she immediately collapsed. Oh my god, that's Pudding and Little Bean? Qin Ning immediately covered her face with both hands, feeling extremely embarrassed. Chapter 2243. How long have you two been peeking? Tang Chuan was very generous and did not feel embarrassed at all. You bullied our auntie behind our backs and you still dare to be so self-righteous? You're so shameless, Pudding said in a domineering tone. Yeah. You think you can take advantage of our auntie just because she's dumb and innocent? Uncle Tang, you're getting more and more shameless as you get older. Pudding made a shy gesture with her fingers. Why would I be afraid of that? What's the point of being shy? I can't get a wife. Tang Chuan sighed. Qin Ning immediately reacted and pushed Tang Chuan away. Get lost. Who's your wife? Huh? You didn't hide just now. You can't turn against us just because the two little brats are here. Tang Chuan pretended to exaggerate. Pudding and Little Bean watched with great interest. Pudding, Little Bean. What you saw just now. Qin Ning paused, probably because she was too embarrassed. Don't worry, I won't tell Daddy and Mommy. Pudding reacted quickly. Good girls, Auntie didn't spoil you two for nothing. Qin Ning immediately relaxed after hearing Pudding's words. But Auntie, are you really going to date Uncle Tang? He's a big bad wolf and you're a little white rabbit. He'll eat you up. Pudding looked at her auntie worriedly. Her cute expression made people want to kiss her. Little Bean, you eat a lot of my Haagen-Dazs, right? It's okay if you don't help me at a critical moment like this. You're not a good kid. Tang Chuan reminded her. Don't worry, I never want to be a good kid. Pudding retorted. Tang Chuan, it's so cold outside. No, I have to go in and change. Qin Ning felt that kissing Tang Chuan was already embarrassing enough. Now that her two nieces had seen it, she found an excuse to run away. You have to be responsible for me. Tang Chuan shamelessly shouted behind her. Qin Ning covered her face with her hands and lowered her head. She ran as fast as she could and almost buried her head in the ground. After Qin Ning went in, Tang Chuan stood contentedly in the outdoor hot spring with his hands on his hips. Nieces, from now on, I'm your uncle. Be good, call me uncle. Tang Chuan said proudly. Pudding, many people want to be our uncle. Who do you think you are? Little Bean, that's right. Who do you think you are? Tang Chuan, hey you two brats, why are you so against me? I used to love you so much. I bought you so much food, drinks and toys for you. You two need to know how to be grateful. Tang Chuan bickered with the twins. Sure, we can also buy you Haagen-Dazs to repay you. Pudding's mouth was unforgiving. Pudding, can you two still have fun with Uncle Tang? Tang Chuan was also subdued by the two little devils. We've never had fun, thank you, Pudding retorted without giving him any face. Tang Chuan wanted to cry but had no tears. Just like that, the two of them became the most beautiful scenery in the outdoor hot spring. No one thought that Tang Chuan would drive all the way to Yunding Mountain to see Qin Ning. The entire Tang family was looking for him like crazy. On the other hand, Qin Chu and Huamin originally planned to meet up with their family on Yunding Mountain. However, Cece's accident forced them to postpone their trip. On the way to South Side, Huamin received a call from Jixin. Hey Jixin, what is it? Sis, when are you and brother-in-law going to Yunding Mountain? Let's go together. Chapter 2244. Something came up over here, so we'll be there later. Can you take Mom there first? I've already asked them to reserve a room for you. What happened? Jixin was worried about his sister. Nothing, don't worry. You guys go first. Okay sis, you have to be careful. Xixin hung up the phone and drove his mother and luggage to the Yunding Mountain Hot Spring Resort. Huamin and Qin Chu planned to spend New Year's there, so their family stayed in a suite on the top floor. They could soak in the hot spring and watch the snow every day. It was very relaxing and comfortable. Huamin was very excited to hear that Cici had woken up. After Cici's accident, Huamin didn't want his family to worry, so he called Suyu and asked him to tell Cici's sister that Cici had gone abroad for a vacation and that they shouldn't worry. Otherwise, if Cici's family knew that she was like this, they probably wouldn't be able to celebrate New Year's. It was understandable how they felt. When Huamin arrived at Cici's room, Qin Chu and Rick were both there. As Cici's chief surgeon, Qin Chu had been carrying the responsibility of a doctor. He had been observing her condition for a long time, and it was indeed very tiring for him. Qin Chu also had to deal with the company. Huamin's heart ached when he saw this. Sister Mian. Cici looked at Huamin and said weakly. Don't talk, Cici. You're so weak. Huamin was so scared that he immediately walked over and held her hand. How are you feeling? Huamin asked. I'm fine. Cici's face was pale. She had just woken up and was dehydrated because of severe blood loss and 48 hours of not eating. She looked exhausted. Don't worry. You just had a major surgery, so you'll recover slowly. I've already asked President Su to help you apply for leave. He said that you're going abroad with us for a vacation. Thank you, Sister Mian. Cici said with difficulty. Rick saw this from the side and his heart ached for her. Qin Chu gave Huamin a look. Honey, come drink some tea with me. I'm thirsty. Okay. Huamin knew that Cici probably wanted to talk to Rick alone. That was why Mr. Qin was so open-minded as to take her away and give Cici and Rick some space to talk. After Qin Chu and Huamin left, Rick walked over and crouched beside Cici's bed. Cici, I'm not dead. Are you disappointed? Cici smiled bitterly. Rick almost burst into tears again. Why do you say that? Am I that kind of man in your heart? Isn't that so? Don't you hate me and don't want to see me? Other people are still good exes and can still be friends even after they break up. There's nothing between us, but we're like enemies. Cici was full of grievances. It's not like that, Cici. You're wrong. You can't say that. Nothing happened between us. We have a lot of memories together, a lot of good memories. Then why did you abandon me? Cici questioned. I didn't abandon you. Cici, I left for your own good, really. Rick didn't want to aggravate Cici's injuries, so he tried to comfort her in the most gentle tone possible. That's such a cheap excuse. If that's what you mean by for my own good, then I don't need you to do it for me. Qin Chu also said that he was doing it for Huamin, so he didn't come back to see her for 4 years. I already thought he was cruel. I didn't expect you to do it for my own good too. If that's what you're doing then. I'm sorry, I don't need you to do it for my own good anymore. You should see me and contact me. I'm not afraid no matter how many disasters you bring me. Even if I die in the next moment, I won't back down. But I can't stand being strangers to you. Cici started panting again when she got too excited. Frightened, Hu Jinyao immediately held her hand tightly. Cici, slow down. Calm down. Chapter 2245. Rick, you don't owe me anything. I'm just too stubborn and can't let go of our relationship. Maybe I'm forcing you. Since even death can't make us go back to square one, then let's just leave it at that. If we keep fighting, we'll both be tired. Cici shook off Rick's hand and said listlessly, Cici, don't think too much. Just focus on getting better, okay? Don't worry about me. I know you're very busy. You don't have time for me. Maybe it was because Cici was still young that she said this in a fit of pique. No, I'm not busy. No matter how busy I am, it's not as important as you. Cici, I know you don't want me to leave, so I won't leave. I'll stay with you. But if you don't leave now, it'll be Chinese New Year. Cici turned her head away from Rick's eyes. Then I'll stay and spend Chinese New Year with you. Rick seemed to have made up his mind. But only lovers spend Chinese New Year together. There's nothing between us. Then we'll be in a relationship and spend Chinese New Year together. Rick didn't know how to coax girls, so he just answered whatever Cici said. Even if it was a joke, he would say it seriously. But we're not lovers anymore. We broke up more than 3 years ago. Cici pouted. Then we'll start over and date again, but I'm not that easy to woo. It's not as simple as you saying we'll be together. Cici said proudly. It's okay. I'm very patient. I'll keep going until you say yes. After Rick said those words with deep emotion, Cece suddenly felt a little excited and turned over abruptly. It hurts. Maybe she used too much force so it hurt the gunshot wound. Slow down. Rick was so scared that his face changed. He got up and was about to call the doctor but Cece grabbed him tightly. Rick, do you mean what you said just now? What did I say? Rick answered seriously. Cece was so angry that she wanted to strangle him to death. Cece was exasperated. Seeing that she was really angry, Rick immediately comforted her. Of course. Don't be so agitated. Don't be angry, it'll affect your wound. Cece, I mean what I said to you. I'll get you back, okay? Then this time, will you still ditch me? Cece asked worriedly. It can't be. No matter what happens, you won't abandon me, right? Cece asked for confirmation. Yes. You swear? I swear. This time, even if I have to go through a mountain of swords and a sea of flames, even if the sky falls and the earth rends, I will never leave you again. Under Cece's coercion, Rick finally confessed his love for her. Cece felt that happiness had come too suddenly. If it weren't for the gunshot wound, Rick would probably still deny his feelings for her. I remember this. If you dare to break your oath, I won't let you off even if I become a ghost, okay? Rick smiled warmly and held Cece's hand tightly with both hands. But Cece, I have to tell you the nature of my job. I'm actually the mafia godfather. I know all about it. Cece was very calm. Chapter 2246. You know, Rick was slightly surprised. He didn't expect Cece to say it so casually. Sister Mion told me a little. When you were at Seductive Fox, I knew you weren't doing honest business. After all, everyone knows what kind of place Seductive Fox is. Rick, you underestimate my tolerance. I want to say that when I like you, I'll accept you no matter if you're a god or a demon. So you're thinking too much. That's not important. Cece, I have a lot of enemies. I'm afraid that one day someone will target you. Don't worry, I'll try not to be a burden to you. I'll stay by your side and never leave your side. If someone wants to hurt us, we'll fight it out. At worst, we'll die together. After Cece finished speaking, she finally smiled. Looking at her smile, Rick suddenly felt the emptiness in his heart slowly fill up. Maybe Cece was right. People should live a simple life. If they were afraid of wolves and tigers, they might live in fear for the rest of their lives. It was better to think in the simplest and most direct way. Cece's thoughts were extremely simple. If they liked each other, they'd like to be together. If they didn't, they'd separate. If they faced difficulties together, they'd solve them together. At worst, they'd die together. At this moment, Rick suddenly realized that he and Chin-Chu had made a famous mistake. They thought they were doing it for the sake of their loved ones, but it wasn't really for their own good. After all, they weren't involved. Just like how Chin-Chu left for 4 years, he thought it was for Huomin's good. But in the past 4 years, Huomian couldn't sleep well and didn't live a good life. To Huomian, having Chin-Chu by her side was the best. He and Cece were the same. Because of his identity and family, he didn't want to implicate an innocent girl like Cece. But what he didn't know was that to Cece, as long as she was by his side, it was the greatest happiness. Even if it meant death. Sometimes, love could be said to be insignificant. Maybe some love couldn't withstand the test of money, let alone life and death. But some love was indeed great. Some people even spent their entire lives for love. They cherished love as much as their life. Although there weren't many girls like this, there were always some like Huomin and Cece. After almost losing Cece this time, Rick could no longer suppress his emotions. After comforting Cece for a long time and she fell asleep, Rick walked out of the room. How's she? Is she okay? Chin-Chu asked. Yeah. She's asleep. What's your future plans? No. Rick was Cece's heart. She was Cece was Cece's die, even if she was T she S. T's are you? T. S is this? S Cece. S T teat. S is this was it? By T T's. S's and I'll never leave her again. Rick added. So are they going to make up? Huomian asked in disbelief. You could say that. You've really made up your mind? Aren't you? Chin-Chu knew what Rick was thinking, so he reminded him carefully. Compared to those things, I'm more afraid of losing her. Rick's answer was simple and direct. Huomin was slightly touched. Cece's actually very simple-minded. She simplifies a lot of complicated things. In her world there's only black and white, right and wrong, there's no gray area. Girls like her are hard to come by, Huamian spoke up for Cici. I know. Cici's been great. I'm just afraid I'll drag her down. Rick lowered his head, feeling guilty. What about your fiancé in New Orleans? Chin Chu was worried because he knew what kind of person Luna's father was. He was afraid that trouble would come. Chapter 2247. Don't worry about Luna. I didn't agree to marry her anyway. It's always been her and her father's wishful thinking. Rick had always been cold towards women. Those who knew him well would know that he would only show his rare gentleness towards Cici. He was very similar to Mr. Chin in this aspect. However, the difference was that Mr. Chin not only loved his wife, but also loved his daughter. Just as they were chatting, Chin Chu's phone rang. Seeing that it was his daughter, Pudding, Chin Chu wanted to let Huamin speak as well. Therefore he turned on the speakerphone and the volume was especially loud. As soon as the call went through, he heard Pudding's clear voice on the other end. Daddy, where are you? Daddy's outside. Are you busy? Yeah, I'm busy. Chin Chu's eyes were filled with love. Then, is Mommy by your side? Are you two together? Yeah, we're together. When are you guys coming to the Hot Spring Hotel to see us? Soon. We'll be there as soon as we're done. Uncle Jishin and Grandma are already here. Now it's just you two. I always thought that Daddy and Mommy are punctual people, so... Pudding didn't finish the rest of her sentence. Daddy. However, Huamin couldn't help but give Pudding a thumbs up. Her IQ and her words were too hard. Daddy and Mommy will definitely be there on time. Don't worry, Pudding, Chin Chu promised again. Just then Pudding snatched the phone away from him. Daddy, I miss you so much. This second brother, he started acting coquettishly the moment he came up. His voice was so adorable that it melted one's heart. Pudding, Daddy misses you too. Daddy, I haven't seen you and Mommy for days. I've been having insomnia. I can't sleep or eat well. I've lost 4 ounces. 4 ounces? Huh. Huamin couldn't help but laugh. The only person who could measure his weight was his adorable Miss Pudding. Mommy, why are you laughing? Do you have any compassion? Pudding immediately complained when she heard her mother's voice. Pudding, how can you lose weight? How could I not believe it? You ate so much at the Hot Spring Hotel. It would be weird if you didn't get fat. Huamin said. I really lost weight. If you don't believe me, you can ask Big Sis. Little Bean whined. Daddy, can you come back quickly? Without you at home, my heart feels empty. It's like I'm not interested in doing anything. Oh? Is that so? I didn't know Daddy was so important to Little Bean. Mr. Chin smiled. Teasing the little girl, Rick, who was watching from the side, was really envious. Although he didn't have a child and wasn't a father yet, he could see such an expression on Chin Chu's face. That was a miracle. Of course, Daddy is the most important. What about Mommy? Huamin pretended to be jealous. Mommy is a little worse than Daddy, because Mommy has a bad temper. Comparatively speaking, she's not as calm as Daddy. Little Bean's comment almost made the 3 adults burst out laughing. Little Bean, remember this? Huamin said deliberately with a smile. So, Daddy, can you come back now? I want to eat Suji's hibiscus cake and osmanthus cake. Little Bean finally got to the point. No. But Daddy, how many hours will it take to drive there? Chin Chu looked at his watch. Chapter 2248. I still want to eat it. They don't sell it here, but I really want to eat it. Little Bean said pitifully. Pudding chimed in, yes, Daddy. Little Bean was in a bad mood this morning and Grandpa and Grandma couldn't calm her down. She said she dreamed of hibiscus cakes last night. Do you want to buy some now? Sure, wait for me. I'll go buy some right away. Chin Chu didn't hesitate. He immediately agreed to help the twins. Honey, don't you still have unfinished documents at the company? Huamin was surprised. Don't I still have you? Honey, you stay here and observe Cici for a while. If she's fine, you can go back to the company and then drive straight to the Hot Spring Hotel. Chin Chu instructed. What about you? I'm going to buy some hibiscus cakes now. You're really going? Huamin thought that Chin Chu spoiled the twins too much. It was a few 100 kilometers away from Yunding Mountain. Was it really a good idea to go through so much trouble just to buy snacks for the kids? However, Mr. Chin had already left to carry out his orders. Before he left, he said to Rick, Cici can't leave the hospital right now. If you stay for the new year, you'll probably have to stay in the hospital too. Call me if you need anything. Rick nodded. Chin-Chu took his car keys and left. Huamin was speechless. Chin-Chu is so good to the twins. Rick couldn't help but exclaim. I'm so jealous. Huamin was jealous. Then he shamelessly posted a WeChat message on his WeChat friend circle. It was a picture of Chin-Chu's back view. It said, "This man just went to buy pastries for someone else's wife. I'm so angry." As soon as the message was sent, everyone exploded. Zhu Lingling, what's going on? Did Mr. Qin cheat? Huamin replied to Zhu Lingling. He came out of the closet? Jixin, sis, what's going on? Huamin replied to Jixin. Nothing. Gao Ran, looks like there's going to be a family war. Tang Chuan, you get a stool and sit down to watch the show. The front row sells mineral water, drinks and popcorn. Huamin replied to Tang Chuan. I'll talk to Ning Ning about young Master Tang's love history later. Tang Chuan, no. I was wrong. Sister-in-law, I was really wrong. Huamin replied to Tang Chuan. I'm not your sister-in-law yet. Please watch your words. Wei Liao, it's so lively today. Everyone came out to get some fresh air. Jiang Xiaowei, you guys are really stupid. What she said was obvious. She was referring to Pudding and Little Bean, okay? Other than his own daughter, who else would Mr. Qin treat so well? Everyone was commenting happily below the post. At this time, Siyu called. Hello. Huamin, did you go to the hot spring hotel for Chinese New Year? Siyu asked. Not yet. I'm still at South Side. Oh, wait for me. I'll come to you. Sup. Huamin knew that Siyu wouldn't come to him for no reason. I have something for you. Then before Huamin could reply, Siyu hung up. Inside the Yunding Mountain Hot Spring Hotel, the twins and Tang Chuan were resting in the hotel's upstairs cafe. Andy, how was my performance? Little Bean looked at Qin Ning with a smile. It was great. So you lost. Give me the money. Little Bean reached out her chubby little hand. Qin Ning had just made a bet with her auntie that she would call her dad and ask him to come to the hotel immediately. However, the twins called right away and Qin Ning lost the bet. Niece, you're so business-minded. Qin Ning exclaimed as she took out her wallet. Tang Chuan quickly took out 1,000 yuan and put it on the table. Ning Ning, I'll pay for you. Why? Qin Ning looked at Tang Chuan from the corner of her eyes. Because you're my wife. Tang Chuan said smoothly. Qin Ning's face immediately turned red. The twins looked at Tang Chuan and then at their aunt with that look in their eyes. What's going on? Did you two sleep together? Little Bean looked at the two of them seriously. Chapter 2249. Little Bean, don't talk nonsense. Qin Ning was so embarrassed that she was about to explode. His two nieces' habit of not giving up until they said something shocking was really inherited from their brother Qin-Chu's fine tradition. I want to sleep with her, but your auntie won't let me. Tang Chuan smiled wickedly. Qin Ning was so angry that she slapped Tang Chuan's shoulder. Auntie, you know how to flirt now? Pudding glanced at Qin Ning calmly. Qin Ning, is it because I can't explain myself no matter what I do? Qin Ning felt wronged. You two kissed in the outdoor hot spring. What's there to explain? I'm going to talk to Daddy and Mommy when they come back. Little Bean purposely lowered her head and mumbled. Qin Ning was scared out of her wits. Little Bean, does Auntie love you? Qin Ning asked. Yeah, she does. Then why did you betray Auntie? Betray? Why do I feel like Auntie is being bullied? That's why I want to tell Daddy and Mommy to help you. Little Bean's mouth was not going to let Qin Ning off easily. Listen to me, Little Bean. Auntie isn't being bullied. Qin Ning explained patiently. So you did it willingly? So, do you like Uncle Tang too? Little Bean asked the key question again. To be honest, when Tang Chuan heard this, he was really excited. He really wanted to hear it from Qin Ning's mouth. He didn't expect Little Bean to be so dumb, cute and dumb. However, she was still so sharp-tongued at critical moments. Little Bean. Qin Ning's face turned red again. Please answer my question, Auntie. If you admit that you did it willingly, then I won't tell anyone. Otherwise, I'll pretend that you were being bullied and tell Daddy and Mommy to help you. Little Bean threw out a difficult problem. Pudding glanced at Tang Chuan and asked in a low voice, when did you bribe this foodie? Why is she helping you like this? This is our secret. Tang Chuan smiled proudly. In the end, Qin Ning admitted defeat. Listen to me, Pudding. I was willing to do this, but okay, I understand. We're all adults. I won't disturb you guys anymore. Sis, let's go see if Grandpa and Grandma are hungry. We'll take them to eat Cantonese food. Then Little Bean held Pudding's hand and walked out. Qin Ning's heart was about to break down. And they're all adults? Those two were clearly little brats, all right? Ning Ning. After the twins left, Tang Chuan looked at Qin Ning affectionately. Qin Ning gritted her teeth and said, Tang Chuan, don't misunderstand. I was afraid that Little Bean would tell my brother and sister-in-law. That's why I deliberately misled them. I didn't mean what I said. Do you understand? I know. Tang Chuan smiled. You're still laughing? Qin Ning was a little angry. She had just been bullied by her niece, but this idiot didn't come to help her. What else? Do you want me to continue kissing you? It's freezing outside. I think it's faster to hug each other. Don't you agree? Tang Chuan walked up to Qin Ning and tried to hug her. However, Qin Ning kicked him away. Go away. Don't touch me. She had already been taken advantage of today. The twins walked out and started a highly intelligent conversation. Little Bean, sis, how was my performance just now? Pudding, seriously exceeded your usual IQ. It was like you were cheating. Little Bean, damn, are you complimenting me or insulting me? Chapter 2250. Pudding, guess? Little Bean, I'm too lazy to guess. Pudding, Little Bean, sis, do you think there's something going on between Uncle Tang and Auntie? Pudding, I don't know if there's anything going on between them, but I know that you just interrogated Auntie and got the answer Uncle Tang wanted. So, can you tell me what kind of deal you made with Uncle Tang? Why are you working with him? Little Bean, working with him is overboard. It's not like I'm betraying Auntie. Pudding, cut the crap. What did Uncle Tang give you? Little Bean, there's nothing good this time. Sis, I'm really tired of seeing them like that. Auntie too clearly has someone in her heart, but she won't admit it. Pudding, how do you know Auntie likes him? Which eye of yours saw that? Little Bean, gosh. Sis, can you stop testing my IQ? Although my IQ isn't as high as yours, my EQ isn't lower than yours. Mommy invited Auntie to come back for the new year, but she said she might not have time. Don't you think it's strange that she suddenly came back? Plus, with Auntie's temper, if someone forced a kiss on her and she didn't like it, she would have drowned Uncle Tang in the hot spring just now. After all, Grandpa Qin said Auntie was a high-level taekwondo fighter. But she didn't. What does that mean? It means she has someone in her heart. Uncle Tang is an experienced flirt, but it's all an act. Handsome Sue said that Uncle Tang was hurt by love before, but he's still very soft and pure. Those women are all for show. So, when it comes to flirting, he doesn't have much experience. The two of them were stuck like that and I felt annoyed just watching them, so I decided to help them. Pudding, at this moment you're like a Buddha. Little Bean, huh? Sis, I'm embarrassed by your high praise. Pudding, so, can you tell me now? What did Uncle Tang give you? Little Bean, ahem. Sis, is it really okay for you to expose me like this? Pudding, what? Little Bean, an AI robot. Pudding, damn. Isn't that the one the Tang Corporation listed on the overseas market this year? I heard it's an AI robot butler. That's the best technology. Little Bean, yeah, I just casually mentioned it and he gave it to me. Pudding, I'll give you a robot worth more than 1 million as a gift. You're so proud. Little Bean, if it weren't for the fact that the technology isn't mature enough and it hasn't been sold globally, do you think I would want it? The problem is that it's not even available now. But I really like it. I even named it Whitey Hee. This was because the two ladies liked a Disney animation called Super Marines. There was a divine artifact robot butler in the movie called Dubai. It was especially warm, so Little Bean became obsessed with robots from then on. There were many robots in the house. However, this was the first time there were more than 1 million robots. Uncle Tang really put in a lot of effort this time. Pudding exclaimed with a smile. That's for sure. Auntie isn't that easy to woo. While the two ladies were singing the same tune, Tang Chuan and Qin Ning were still bickering and chatting in the cafe. Qin Ning suddenly felt that with Tang Chuan here, her boring life suddenly became much more interesting. Of course, she still didn't know that this was the feeling of liking someone. She thought that it was just because everyone was familiar with each other. After answering the phone, Huamin waited for Su Yu in the office at Southside. Soon Suyu arrived in his flashy Lamborghini. Huamin, come downstairs, Suyu said on WeChat. Huamin immediately put on his jacket and went downstairs. When he reached the door he was stunned. Chapter 2251. What are you doing? Huamin thought that since it was almost New Year, Suyu must have bought some food for the twins so that they could bring it back to the hot spring hotel. However, he realized that it wasn't as simple as just food. Behind the black Lamborghini was a white mid-sized pickup truck. There were a lot of big boxes in the truck. These are New Year goodies for you guys. Suyu answered calmly. What year are we in now? Bro, do you really need to buy New Year goodies like this? What do you need? The supermarket has it, okay? The hotel also has everything prepared. Huamin didn't know whether to laugh or cry. The supermarket won't sell these things and neither will the hotel. Suyu answered with certainty. For example? Huamin tilted his head and looked at him. I've prepared 6 boxes of crabs for you. 6 different types of crabs that you don't have a foodie for. I'm afraid that you'll freeze to death, so I put them in the freezer. You have to hurry up and eat them. There's also pudding and pudding's favorite ice creams, pastries and candies. There's Russian 7-colored tiramisu, Turkish sourdough and special Hawaiian nuts. Anyway, these are all things that you can't buy. Okay, you win. Huamin couldn't help but admire Suyu. How did he get a truck full of New Year goodies? They were all specialties from all over the world. Most importantly, he still remembered that Huamin loved crabs. Then don't just stand there. When you drive back to the hotel, you can drive in front and I'll have the truck follow behind you. Oh, and we'll drive behind you to protect you guys. No need, right? It's just New Year's, is it necessary? Huamin chuckled. I just video chatted with Pudding. She said that Chin-Chu went back early. I'm afraid that you'll be in danger if you're alone. Suyu looked at Huamin seriously, his eyes full of tenderness. Mr. Chin already arranged for someone to protect me. I don't need an, it's too troublesome. He needs to go home for the new year. Huamin politely declined Suyu's request for Anne's protection. Well, in short, you're not going back alone. I'm relieved. Suyu nodded. I'll accept the New Year goods. I won't stand on ceremony. Huamin smiled brightly. Yes, it was prepared for you. You're welcome. Tell Lord Su that we will come back on the 2nd day of the 1st lunar month to give him a New Year's greeting. Ask him to prepare a red packet. Huamin joked. Of course, the red packet was prepared half a year ago. My old man only has eyes for the twins. Suyu pretended to be jealous. Oh right, how's that girl named Cece? Is it serious? Suyu thought about Cece's injury. She's fine. Her life is no longer in danger. Have you contacted her family? Huamin asked. Suyu nodded. I did. Maybe it's because I'm the one who said it, so it's more believable. I called Nye Lingxian. That's good. Okay, I'll leave you to it. I'm leaving, wait. Huamin hurriedly stopped him. Suyu immediately turned around. Thank you, Lord Su. Huamin thanked him sincerely. Don't mention it. Suyu laughed heartily. Then I'll see you on the 2nd day of the 1st lunar month. By the way, I'll arrange Anai Yang's wedding. If you have any ideas or requests, feel free to contact me. After all, he's an employee of your company. This wedding is also a grand occasion for Imperial Star. I know. I'll leave it to you. Just do whatever you want. Suyu waved his hand and left Southside. Watching this majestic man drive away in his black Lamborghini, Suyu felt a little guilty. Huamin looked at the sincere New Year's gifts and felt guilty. She had never wronged anyone in her life, whether it was her parents, her children, or her lover. The only person she had wronged was this man. She was afraid that she would never be able to repay Suyu's kindness in this lifetime. Before Huamin left Southside, he went to see Cece again. Sister Mion, you're here. Cece looked a lot better and was able to sit up against the headboard. Rick was peeling an apple with a fruit knife. It was a heartwarming scene. Chapter 2252. Cece, don't worry. Mr. Chin and I plan to go back to the hot spring hotel to meet up with our family. After 3 days of injections, you can be discharged. I've reserved a suite for you guys at the hotel. You and Rick can go to the hotel to meet us. And Ai Yong is getting married on the 8th day of the Chinese New Year. Hey, thank you, Sister Mion. You're welcome. Call me if you need anything. Just focus on your recovery and don't think about anything else. Stay in a good mood. Huamin reminded her again. Cece nodded. Huamin glanced at Rick. You won't leave her here alone, right? No, Rick said with a straight face. Take good care of Cece. Call me anytime. Then Huamin packed up and drove to the company to help Chin-Chu with some documents. Then he went back to South Hill Manor to pick up some things. Then he left Sea City with the New Year goodies that Suyu bought for him and his bodyguards. He headed to the Hot Spring Hotel to meet up with his family. Southside VIP room, have an apple. Rick handed it to her. I don't want one. Apples are good for you. What's good for me? Cece looked up at Rick. Rick thought hard for a while and said with a straight face, You'll be fair. Cece burst out laughing. So you're saying that the reason why those people are so tanned is because they haven't eaten apples? Then Africans have never eaten an apple in their lives? Rick, haha, okay. I'll stop teasing you. Cece took the apple and took a bite. To be honest, Rick really didn't know how to take care of people, let alone patients and women. The first time he took care of Cece, the two of them had a lot of funny stories. Huamin was worried that Chin-Chu should find a caregiver because Rick didn't look professional. However, Rick was worried and insisted on taking care of Cece himself. Cece didn't want to leave him either. I want to watch TV, Cece said as she ate the apple. Rick turned on the television and silently switched to the children's channel. He found Boonie Bears. I don't want Boonie Bears. I like to watch Peppa Pig now. Cece pouted. Rick. Although the hospital was Cece's least favorite place, she felt that this was the happiest day of her life because Rick was here with her. It was simply impossible for Rick to bring his subordinates to stay in the Southern District. The entire European and American markets were in a mess. No one could find the godfather of the underworld. No one would have thought that he was hiding in a hospital in a city. Accompanying his little girlfriend, living a life of daily necessities, living a life of luxury. In the blink of an eye, it was New Year's Eve. The hotel had prepared a New Year's Eve dinner. Everyone was in the restaurant watching the Spring Festival Gala live broadcast on a huge screen. Then the young people all took out their phones and sent all kinds of red packets and snatched red packets. Huamin gave Suyu 8 red packets of 188 yuan each. Each red packet had a word written on it. There were a total of 8 words. The New Year, great luck and great success. Is this the legendary reign of red packets? Suyu replied with a smile. Lord Su, Happy New Year. Huamin sent Suyu a red packet first because she wanted to thank him the most. Same to you, Vice Director Hua, Suyu replied. Sir, it's almost time. The dumplings will be ready soon. Can we set off the fireworks now? The restaurant manager walked over and asked Chin-Chu carefully. Sure, Mr. Chin said coolly. 10 seconds later, fireworks bloomed outside the hotel. The twins were still kids after all. Seeing the sky full of fireworks, they were so excited that they jumped up and ran to the observation deck. Wow, it's so beautiful. Little Bean and Pudding exclaimed. Honey, is there something on your mind? Chin-Chu noticed that Huamin was a little distracted. Honey, Huamin looked up at Chin-Chu wanting to say something but hesitated. I know who you're thinking about. Chin-Chu put his arm around her shoulders and comforted her. Then Chin-Chu put his hand on Huamin's shoulder and pointed at the entrance of the restaurant. Honey, look over there. Huamin looked in the direction of Chin-Chu's finger. Instantly, tears welled up in her eyes. Chapter 2253. A girl in a black trench coat stood at the door. She was beautiful and had dimples on her face. When Huamin saw her, he almost cried, Yen. Huamin felt his voice tremble. Come on, give me a hug. Lu Yen ran over and gave Huamin a bear hug. The two sisters had only met a few times, but Lu Yan's scent was familiar to Huamin. Perhaps this was the tacit understanding between blood-related sisters. Because of Lu Yan's status, Chin-Chu asked Qin Ning to bring her parents, Huamin's mother, and his brother to another private room to watch the New Year's gala. Chin-Chu, Huamin, and the twins stayed in a private room to eat with Lu Yan. Yan, why are you? Lu Yan's arrival was so sudden that Huamin was not prepared for it. This was a big surprise. I was going to come with my dad, but he's a stubborn person. He thought that if I came with him and got caught by that big psycho Ian, I'd be dead meat. So even though I really wanted to come, I didn't. But it's okay, next year I'll drag my dad here to accompany you. Lu Yan's tone was always domineering. Maybe it had something to do with her personality or her profession, but she was the kind of woman with a strong aura. I'm happy that you're here, but won't you be in danger if you come alone? Don't put yourself in danger just to keep me company. Huamian was always worried about Lu Yen and worried about her. I didn't come alone. If you didn't mention it, I would have forgotten. Then Lu Yen turned around and yelled at the person at the door. Psycho Qiao, come here, I'll introduce you to my sister. Lu Yan's call of Psycho Qiao attracted everyone's attention. Huamin looked up and saw a man with short silver hair standing at the door. He looked very young, wearing a dark blue Russian-style military uniform, standing there with a straight face. The man's face was expressionless, but his eyes were unusually good-looking. He looked a bit like a character from an anime. Wow, that guy is so handsome. Little Bean exclaimed as she held the tiramisu in her hand. This is the first time I've seen someone like him. His aura is so cold, even colder than Daddy's. Pudding agreed with her sister. Hearing Lu Yan's words, the man walked over slowly. Sister, brother-in-law. Qiao Fei nodded politely. Huamin didn't know much about Lu Yan and her dad. However, Qin Chu knew a thing or two about it because he had operated on Qiao Fei in Moscow and removed the bullet. Qiao Fei. Lu Yan introduced him with a smile. Oh, I remember now. He's your boyfriend, right? Huamin suddenly remembered that Xiao Yan had a boyfriend in Russia. He seemed to be very powerful. Sister, I'm not her boyfriend. I'm her fiancé. Qiao Fei corrected her with a straight face. Huamin, hey, why are you so stubborn? If he's your boyfriend, then he's your fiancé. Why are you so serious with my sister? Lu Yan pinched Qiao Fei. They're completely different. Boyfriend means we're in a relationship and our relationship isn't stable yet. Fiancé means we're about to get married and only need a wedding. Qiao Fei explained. Chapter 2254. My bad. Ah yes, he's fiancé. Are you guys getting married? Huamin thought that his sister was still young and couldn't be getting married so soon. No sis, don't listen to him. We don't have plans for a wedding yet. How can we call ourselves a family if we don't get rid of Ian? Lu Yan sighed slightly. Huamin heard Ian's name again. A man that even a fugitive like Yen had to be careful of must be a ruthless character, right? Everyone sit down, don't just stand there. Qin Chu said. Then the four of them sat down. The twins were no longer in the mood to watch the fireworks. They ran over to Huamin and Qin Chu and peeked at Lu Yan. Mommy, this auntie came to our house last time. Pudding always had a good memory. Pudding, you still remember me? Lu Yan was overjoyed. Auntie, don't you remember me as Pudding? Lu Yan smiled and picked up Pudding, who was closest to her, with great strength. Pudding, call me Auntie. Auntie, Happy New Year. Pudding, who was always arrogant, called her Auntie obediently. Pudding was second only to Pudding. Lu Yan took out a red envelope from her bag and stuffed it into Pudding's hand. Take it. Looks pretty thin. Auntie, you're a little stingy. Is there only 100 yuan in it? Pudding, who was used to receiving red envelopes with cash, felt the envelope and knew that there wasn't much inside. In fact, there was only one red envelope. The biggest currency in China was 100 yuan. Even in US dollars, 100 yuan was only 600 yuan. Pudding thought that this auntie wasn't an ordinary person and wouldn't be so stingy. Lu Yan put down Pudding calmly and waved at Pudding. Pudding, come here. Do you want a red envelope? Yes. Check it out. I'll take it even if it's 100 yuan. I can buy ice cream with 100 yuan. Little Bean climbed down from Qin Chu's lap and ran into Lu Yan's arms. Before Lu Yan could say anything, Pudding kissed Lu Yan's cheek. Happy New Year, Auntie. Good luck. Good fortune. Pudding and Little Bean both thought that such a New Year's greeting sounded stupid. But he still had to say it. After all, adults like to hear it. Lu Yan took out another red envelope and stuffed it into Little Bean's hand. It was also very thin like Pudding's. Open it and see. Lu Yan smiled mysteriously. Little Bean and Pudding looked at each other and slowly opened the red envelope. The international check. Because Huamin and Qin Chu often used it, the two little guys knew what it was. Million. Pudding was also dumbfounded. Huamin was shocked and immediately scolded. Quickly take it back to Auntie. You're not allowed to take it. Huamin thought Lu Yan would only give the kids a red packet of 800 to 1,000 yuan or 10,000 US dollars at most. The last time they went to America, Qin Ning had prepared 1,000 US dollars. Even Huamin thought it was too much. After all, they were only 3 years old and didn't have a strong sense of control over money. Although putting like to invest in stocks, she was only in charge of controlling them and couldn't withdraw the money. Sis, it's for the kids. Don't be so polite with me. I'm not being polite. It's too much. That's 8 million yuan. The two kids are more than 10 million yuan. Are you crazy? Huamin strongly objected. Take it, sis. Lu Yan is very rich. Qiao Fei said quietly. Chapter 2255. Damn it. If I spent all my money, I'd definitely ask you for more. You're just a bystander. Lu Yan turned her head and scolded Qiao Fei. No problem. If you marry me, all my money will be yours. Qiao Fei was ready to force her to marry him. Lu Yan was speechless. Ahem. Sis, this is a token of my sincerity. Even though Psycho Qiao accidentally revealed my financial situation, he wasn't wrong. I am indeed very rich. This is a token of my sincerity for the babies. Take it. What's the point of letting them study abroad? Auntie, this money is enough for us to study on the moon. Pudding exclaimed. That's right. We'll go there on a rocket and come back on a rocket. Bayou. Pudding imitated the action of a rocket. It made the adults laugh. During dinner, Qin Chu raised his glass and said, "Thank you for coming to celebrate Chinese New Year with us. Your sister is in a good mood today. Don't mention it. Brother-in-law, we're family." Bu Yan smiled. Brother-in-law, I heard that the surgery you performed on me was very difficult. Thank you for your hard work. Qiao Fei respected Qin Chu very much. He grew up in a military family and was the king of Russia. He was also a tyrant internationally. Qiao Fei had never been afraid of him. Other than Lu Yan, he admired Qin Chu the most. If it weren't for Qin Chu, he would have been a corpse by now. We're family. You guys must have come a long way. More. Qin Chu's wish was to secretly help Huamin find his family. Now that Lu Yan was here, he was slowly helping her realize her wish. In Qiao Fei. Huamin was very enthusiastic and kept putting food on Lu Yan's plate. It was obvious that she was very happy. The four of them drank 6 or 7 bottles of red wine. Lu Yan's alcohol tolerance was high enough that she wouldn't get drunk. Qiao Fei was born in Russia, so he was also a wine god. On the other hand, Qin Chu and Huamin were a little tipsy. After the four of them finished eating, they walked to the observation deck. The fireworks outside were still going off. Looking at such a gorgeous night, Huamin suddenly felt like he was dreaming. Qin Chu took Qiao Fei to the other side. The two men had a lot to talk about. Qin Chu knew that he would need the Qiao family's help if he wanted to deal with Ian and Hu Xiqian. The twins went to another room and kowtowed to their grandparents to ask for red packets. Huamin and Lu Yan stood alone on the balcony. Leaning against the railing, they looked at the mesmerizing night sky. Huamin suddenly grabbed Lu Yan's hand tightly. Sis? Lu Yan was touched. Yan, I feel like I'm in a dream. It's so unreal. I've been restless the whole day. Every festive season I miss my family. I suddenly miss your dad so much. I really want you guys to be by my side. Me too. All these years, ever since I found out that I had a sister, I've been trying to find ways to see you. If it wasn't for that damn Ian, Dad would have come. Actually, Dad and I haven't spent the new year together for years. It's extremely difficult to even see each other. Dad has a lot of things to do and most of the time he's hiding in the lab and refusing to come out. I've traveled all over the world by myself and seen different things. Lu Yan looked into the distance and said word by word. Yan, it's so good to see you. Huamin hugged Lu Yan's shoulder tightly. Chapter 2256. The two sisters loved each other dearly. Ever since Huamin found out about Lu Yan's existence, he had been thinking about her. He even dreamed of living a simple and peaceful life with Lu Yan. Like all the other sisters in the world, they could go shopping, eat, watch movies, drink tea, travel, etc. Sis, as long as I'm alive, I'll protect you forever. As I'm strong, I have to protect the people I love the most. You and Dad are the most important people in my heart, and so are the twins. I won't let anyone hurt you, Lu Yan said quietly. Yan, have you thought about it? Can't you be an employee for the rest of your life? When do you want to leave that world? Huamin asked softly. Lu Yan's eyes dimmed slightly. Sis, I've never liked this industry, this world. But I can't help it. In this world, a lot of things don't go the way you want them to. I've been tired for a long time. I have a lot of money, a lot of excellent subordinates, a lot of loyal friends, and Psycho Chow is loyal to me. But as long as Ian isn't dead, I can't leave. He chased after me and Dad for so many years and he refused to let go. Maybe everything will only end when Dad and I die. It's the new year, don't say such inauspicious things. Huamin immediately interrupted Lu Yen. Anyway, you don't have to worry. Ian's death is the end of everything. When Ian dies, everything will end and we'll go find Mom, then our family will be together forever. Sis, let me tell you, I've saved up a lot of US dollars, gold bars, diamonds and antiques. That money is enough for us to spend for a few lifetimes. I also have a private island in the South Pacific. It's like spring there all year round. It's my home base. You guys can go there with me and we'll live a peaceful life. Okay. Huamin nodded. Lu Yen described a very idealistic life, but Huamin knew that reality was very realistic. Dreams were plentiful but reality was bony. In front of these beautiful lives, there were unknown difficulties and bumps. One Ian might be able to destroy all of them. About Ian, the Nalo brothers, the terrorist organization and their relationship with Hu Xiqian. Huamin knew very little, but she knew that these were things that she might have to face in the future. She wouldn't let Xiaoyan and her father face those things while she hid and enjoyed the peace they had fought for with their lives. At midnight, the waiter served the cooked dumplings. According to the rules of the North, the dumplings had to contain a gold coin. No matter how many people there were in the house, only one would be placed. They wanted to see who was the most fortunate one. Both adults and children would look forward to it. It had been many years since Qiao Fei and Lu Yen had eaten dumplings that tasted so traditional. Little Bean ate 4 in a row and was already full. However, she didn't want to give up and continued eating because she didn't get any gold coins. Pudding was in a good mood. She ate 3 and stopped eating after she was full. She took out her phone and sent a WeChat message to Su Yu to wish him a happy new year. At this moment, Huamin suddenly felt something pressing against his teeth. After frowning slightly, she spat out a gold coin. It landed on the dining table with a clang. Mommy got it again. It's so weird. Little Bean pouted, unwilling to accept it. Why again? Does your mommy get the lottery every year? Lu Yen pinched Little Bean's face with a smile. Chapter 2257. That's right. Every year it's Mommy. Oh my god, I'm not convinced. Mommy, are you cheating? Little Bean looked at Huamin with dissatisfaction. Huamin asked innocently, how do I cheat? You wear those contact lenses that can see through things. Then you eat whichever dumpling you see has a gold coin in it. Haha, do you think Mommy is Sun Wukong? You have sharp eyes. Huamin laughed so hard that he was convulsing. Seriously. It's only been 4 years since I came to this world and Mommy has been hogging me for the past 4 years. Little Bean was very unhappy. It means your mommy is lucky. Qin Chu comforted his daughter with a smile. Daddy, you always favor Mommy. Humph. Little Bean, it's okay. Let me tell you, you can use the 8 million to buy a lot of gold coins. Put a gold coin in each dumpling and you'll never miss. Lu Yen suggested. Little Bean, okay auntie, you win. Little Bean thought she was a weirdo, but her auntie was even weirder than them. Just then, the ending song of the Spring Festival Gala was playing on the TV. The stars sang Loving Family. Look, is that Uncle and Young? Little Bean's attention was immediately attracted by the people on the TV. Pudding stopped playing with her phone and looked up at the TV. And Young took the lead in singing Loving Family. The lyrics were warm and touching. It was the first time Lu Yen had watched a boring gala so attentively. Yang's voice was very pleasant to the ears and was very recognizable. So when he opened his mouth, everyone was stunned. I like the warm lights waiting for me when I come home. I like the smiles on everyone's faces when I wake up. I like to work hard for my family in my dreams when I leave the house. I like being a family, looking in one direction with my heart. Huamin instantly resonated with the song and started singing along unconsciously. Because we are a family that loves each other. We should share our blessings and share our misfortunes. We should exchange our friendship for eternity. When Huamin finished listening to the song, he turned around and found that Lu Yen and Qiao Fei were gone. Where's Yen? Huamin stood up in a panic. Qin Chu immediately came over and hugged her to comfort her. They just left. They didn't dare to say goodbye to you. They were afraid that you would cry. Hearing that Lu Yen had left, Huamin burst into tears. Like a child, Lu Yen doesn't feel good about it either. But they had no choice. It's already very risky for them to enter the country together. The helicopter is waiting for them outside. I know. I just can't bear to. Huamin sobbed as he spoke. His voice was choked with sobs. I promise you that I'll find a way to solve this as soon as possible. In the future, Lu Yen and the professor can come and see you whenever they want, okay? Qin Chu comforted Huamin patiently as if he was talking to a child. Mommy, don't cry. And he said, she'll come and see us again. Little Bean comforted her. Mommy, when we have time we'll go to Russia to see Auntie. Pudding also held on to Huamin's hand. Huamin tried to suppress the sadness in her heart and wiped away her tears. She looked at the time on her phone. It was already past midnight. The twins looked tired. Honey, take the girls back to bed. I'll clean up and come to you guys in a bit. Get ready. Okay. Huamin nodded and went to the dressing room to wash her face. Qin Chu took the twins to bed. Her phone kept ringing with red packets from her friends and the lucky ones from the group chat. But at this moment Huamin was in no mood. For the first time she wanted Lu Yen to stay so badly. Chapter 2258. She didn't expect that when she left she didn't even have time to say goodbye to her. Lu Yen and Xiao Fei left as quickly as they came. Other than Qin Chu and his family, no one else saw them. It was as if it was really a dream. 20 minutes later Huamin washed his face and removed his makeup. Then he walked out in a bathrobe. He had a glass of red wine in his hand. He saw Zhixin coming back from watching the fireworks. Sis, Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Sis, what's wrong? Your eyes are red. Did someone bully you? No one. Did my nieces make you angry again? Zhixin asked worriedly. No, it's just that I'm old and think a lot. I always think about the unhappy things in the past. Huamin found an excuse and didn't mention Lu Yen. After all, Zhixin didn't know about his sister's identity. Sis, you scared me to death. I thought something was wrong. Let's go, I'll drink with you. Before Huamin could say anything, Zhixin pulled Huamin to the observation deck and poured himself a glass of red wine. He was in such a good mood. Sis, this is for you. Zhixin handed over a small black box. What's this? Huamin picked up the box curiously. Last time the company sent me to South Africa on a business trip. I bought it on the way. They produce diamonds and the quality is pretty good, so I bought one for you. Huamin put down the wine glass in his hand and opened it to see a diamond brooch. It was in the shape of a plum blossom. Each petal was decorated with a sparkling diamond. Oh my God, you're rich. Where did you get so much money? Huamin was surprised. It's not that expensive, only a few $100,000. My year-end bonus for the second half of the year is over 200,000. Sis, don't underestimate me. Zhixin smiled as he picked up the wine glass and took a sip. Huamin was touched. He picked up the brooch and pinned it on his bathrobe. This New Year's gift is very good. I like it very much. Huamin smiled. Sis, thank you for everything you've done for our family all these years. I'll always love you and the twins. What about your brother-in-law? Huamin asked jokingly. At the mention of Qin Chu, Zhixin's gaze became unnatural. Sis, you really love my brother-in-law, don't you? Zhixin asked in all seriousness. But if I didn't love him, how could I marry him and give birth to 2 kids for him? Huamin laughed, thinking that Zhixin's question was meaningless. Then, if one day you find out that my brother-in-law betrayed you, what would you do? Zhixin asked again. Betray me? I've never thought about this before. What's wrong? Did you find out that your brother-in-law has a mistress? Huamin deliberately asked him with a smile. Sis, don't be so cheeky. I'm serious. Why do you have to be so serious about something that can't happen? Huamin disagreed. Are you that confident in my brother-in-law? I'm saying, what if he disappoints you? What if he's hiding something from you? Zhixin looked at his sister nervously. Zhixin, did you find out something? Finally, Huamin stopped smiling and looked at Zhixin with all seriousness. This was because her younger brother had never been a person who was willing to worry and think too much. So he must have found something since he kept bringing it up. Just the truth is, I don't know how to say it. I've been keeping it to myself for a long time. I don't want to affect your relationship with my brother-in-law. If I don't say it, you'll be sad. Zhixin lowered his head, conflicted. Chapter 2259. It's that serious? Then all the more reason to say it. Huamin said half-jokingly. Sis, I don't even know how to say it. Stop dawdling, Zhixin, you're a man, okay? Be decisive, I'm your sister. Although Huamin loved Jixin, he knew that Jixin had a weakness in his personality, and that was that he was indecisive. Whether it was in his work, personal life, he wasn't decisive enough. That was why he still hadn't won Bella's heart, and that was why Huamin had a headache. Then I'll say it, sis. Jixin carefully observed his sister's expression. Okay, say it, I can handle it. Even if you say that your brother-in-law has a mistress outside, I can still handle it. Huamin crossed his arms in front of his chest. Then he looked at Jixin and smiled. Sis, I really think that my brother-in-law has a mistress outside, right? Jixin said uncertainly. How did you know? Huamin asked calmly. Once I woke up in the middle of the night and overheard my brother-in-law talking on the phone. The gist of it was that, you can't let Huamin know about this. Also, from his expression it seemed to be very important and he was afraid that you would know. We all know how much my brother-in-law loves you these past few years, and he would never hide anything from you. So I'm sure. Jixin deliberately paused here. So, you're sure that Qin Chu has a mistress behind my back? Huamin asked on behalf of Jixin. Jixin nodded, his heart heavy. But your brother-in-law is with me every day, where would he have time to have a mistress? I have all of his bank cards and I know every single one of them. Huamin smiled disapprovingly. Sis, don't let love get to your head, okay? My brother-in-law is young, handsome and rich, it's normal for women to have feelings for him. Plus he's not with you every day. Jixin mumbled quietly. But he comes back every night, I'm sure of that. He doesn't even go on business trips anymore. Huamin defended Qin Chu. But before he came back you guys were separated for 4 years. Jixin couldn't help but correct him. Suddenly Huamin fell silent. Sis, it's not that I doubt brother-in-law's character. But sometimes, people change according to their environment. Brother-in-law was in Miguo for 4 years and he traveled from city to city. How do you know that he didn't have a woman by his side? Maybe there's a story behind it. Brother-in-law is a human, not a god, and humans make mistakes. I think it's understandable if it was a one-night stand or if he couldn't control himself. After all, you guys have been married for so many years and you've even had 2 children. But if that woman is still in contact with him and you're still in the dark, I think it's unfair to you. After all, you love him so much. I even think that sometimes your love for him is even greater than his love for you. You've endured these 4 years alone, and you've held on to the friendship from when you were young, ignoring Suyu's love and care. How many women in the world can do that? Jixin, I'm not as good as you make me out to be. Plus, when it comes to love, you shouldn't care about whether it's fair or not. Your brother-in-law loves me to the core. Maybe it's because of his personality, but there are a lot of things that he doesn't say and he puts his actions into action. I'm not an idiot, I can tell if he's sincere or not. Sis, there's something wrong with what we're saying. It's not like that, I don't doubt that brother-in-law doesn't love you. And I'm not saying that he's pretending to love you. I just think that he's hiding something from you. Plus, he called you so sneakily and stressed that he wouldn't let you know. I think there's something fishy going on here. When did you hear that? Huamin asked calmly. Chapter 2260. It's been a long time. I wanted to tell you a long time ago, but I don't know what to do. I'll regret it if I tell you and I'll regret it if I don't. Jixin was still struggling. It's okay, I'll be careful if you tell me. Sis, why don't you ask Qin Ning? She's been in the States all this time so she'll definitely know something. Jixin suggested. Jixin, who else did you tell about this? Does mom know? Of course not, I wouldn't tell anyone. Plus, I don't know what happened and I don't want to wrong my brother-in-law, so I just wanted to tell you. Hey, good. Don't tell anyone about this, I know what to do and I'll take care of it. Sis, I believe you. You and Bella haven't made any progress yet? Huamin asked. Jixin scratched his head. Bella's personality. I don't want to confess, I don't want to lose her as a friend and colleague. You're not as good as Enai Yang in this aspect. Look at him, he's about to get married but you're not even close. You can't compare, sis, Enai Yang's a celebrity. But you're still President Qin's brother-in-law. Huamin retorted. Sis, you win. President Qin's brother-in-law, that's a tempting title. Jixin laughed. Okay, go to bed, it's late. After Huamin and Jixin parted ways, they went straight back to their suite. In order to improve their relationship with the twins, Qin Chu and Huamin reserved a super large suite in the hotel. The family of 4 lived together. It was warm and romantic, and there was also private space. When Huamin went back, it was already 2 in the morning. The twins were already asleep and Qin Chu was still working at his desk. "Wow, Mr. Qin, you're still working on New Year's Eve." Huamin chuckled. "You're back? You must be very tired. Go take a bath and sleep," Qin Chu said, feeling sorry for Huamin. He got up and opened the bathroom door to fill the bath with hot water for Huamin. Huamian couldn't believe that Mr. Qin would do anything to betray her as she watched him run around trying to help her. She wouldn't believe him either, but Qin wasn't someone who would lie. There was no way Mr. Qin would make up that story for no reason. That meant that Mr. Qin was indeed hiding something important from him. And it sounded like something important, Huamin analyzed calmly, but he didn't say anything. He didn't ask Qin Chu or Qin Ning because with Qin Ning's intelligence she would tell Qin Chu if he asked. Then it would be even more troublesome. New Year's Eve came to an end. Lu Yan's sudden return made Huamin very happy. When Lu Yan left in a hurry, Huamin was in a daze. After all these years he finally found out about his identity and that his father and sister were still alive. But he couldn't see them whenever he wanted. It was clear that money wasn't everything. Sometimes Huamin even thought that he didn't want his current identity and status. He just wanted to be an ordinary person. He had an ordinary but harmonious family with his husband, daughter, mother, brother, parents-in-law, father, and sister. The days after New Year's Eve flew by. Qin Chu and Huamin returned to Sea City to work. In the blink of an eye, it was the 8th day of the first lunar month. On the day of Ni Yang's wedding, everyone arrived early in the morning. Su Yu, Wei Liao, Jiang Shaowei's family, Gao Ran, Zhu Lingling's family, and Tang Chuan hadn't left this week. They flirted with Qin Ning every day. Qin Ning had planned to leave on the 3rd day of the first lunar month. But now she didn't mention anything about going back to the States. Qin Chu and Huamin got up early to take care of the banquet and guests. Ni Yang's wedding began a few days before the new year. "Look who's here." Tang Chuan pointed at the door and made a fuss. Chapter 2261. After Tang Chuan finished speaking, everyone looked up and saw Shen Mingxi and Hui Yanyan walking in. Shen Mingxi was wearing a black slim-fit suit, while Hui Yanyan was wearing an orange evening gown with exquisite makeup on her face. One had to admit that Hui Yanyan looked good in her makeup. However, Hui Yanyan gave Huamin a sense of distance. This was the first time Huamin saw Hui Yanyan since the kidnapping. Felt like a lifetime ago. "Why are they here too?" Jiang Shaowei was surprised. Ever since Shen Mingxi and Wei Ying divorced, the Shen and Wei families had been on bad terms. In private, Wei Liao and Shen Mingxi's relationship wasn't as good as before, and Su Yu was sometimes in a difficult position. Young Master Shen is so close to Lord Su, and Ni Yang is the big brother of Imperial Star. How can he not come? Tang Chuan interrupted. As the hosts Qin Chu and Huamin walked up to greet them. After greeting Shen Mingxi, Huamin glanced at Hui Yanyan with a complicated expression. "Yanyan, long time no see." "Yeah, long time no see. Where are Pudding and Little Bean?" Hui Yanyan asked with a smile. "They're today's flower girls. They're preparing for the wedding." "Where's Tiandong?" Huamin asked. Tian has piano lessons today, so she didn't come." Hui Yanyan's face was brimming with confidence. It was obvious that she was living a good life. Naturally, her arm was wrapped around Shen Mingxi's. They looked so intimate that anyone could tell what their relationship was. After a few simple pleasantries, Huamin welcomed them in. Shen Mingxi walked over with Hui Yanyan and greeted Su Yu and the others. During the whole process, Wei Liao's face was very ugly. He had always been a calm person, but this time he really didn't give him any face. "Young Master Shen, how long has it been since your divorce? Are you already showing off your new bride?" Wei Liao said coldly. Jiang Shaowei also looked at her husband in surprise. She didn't expect him to say such a thing. Shen Mingxi glanced at Wei Liao with a complicated look in his eyes. "It has nothing to do with how long we've been divorced. I don't think I'm showing off. Yanyan is my girlfriend. I can't avoid bringing her out to meet people. Mr. Wei, you don't have to think too much about it. But you're doing this just to embarrass the Wei family. How can I not think too much about it? Ying is sincere to you. If you don't like her, you don't have to marry her. Why do you have to marry her and let her down? Now you're showing off on purpose. I think young Master Shen is purposely going against the Wei family. Old Wei, you're thinking too much. Tang Chuan tried to persuade him. This is our private matter. Don't worry about it. Go do what you need to do. Wei Liao pulled a long face for the first time. Not only did he not give face to Tang Chuan, but he also didn't give face to Su Yu. His words shut Su Yu up. Su Yu seemed to understand Wei Liao's temper. He didn't say anything and just looked at him quietly. Zhu Lingling whispered into Jiang Shaowei's ear, "Your husband is angry. This is the first time I've seen him angry." "It's the first time I've seen it. It's pretty scary." Jiang Shaowei had been married to Wei Liao for years, and Wei Yunchu was already 4 years old, but she had never seen him so angry. It was obvious that he cared a lot about Shin Mingxi and Wei Ying. "Young Master Wei, you don't have to be so harsh. Love is about mutual love. Mingxi and your sister's fate is over. Why do you have to force it?" Hui Yanyan looked at Wei Liao and retorted. "You're the mistress. You have no right to speak here. You've brought shame to the Hu family." Wei Liao looked at Hui Yanyan contemptuously. The word mistress was extremely derogatory. Hui Yanyan's face changed as soon as she heard it. Chapter 2262. Young Master Wei, you don't have to lower yourself to a woman's level. Don't make yourself seem petty. So petty people like to burn bridges after crossing the river and find a mistress after using the first wife, right? Wei Liao retorted. Shin Mingxi stared at Wei Liao for a while before he finally said calmly, "Things between me and your sister aren't as simple as you think they are. If you have the chance, you should ask her what she did in the Shin family after she got married. I won't say anything else. Today I'm here to congratulate Lord Su. After all, it's an artist's wedding, so I don't want to cause any trouble. Excuse me, everyone." After Shin Mingxi finished speaking, he turned around and left with Hui Yanyan. Wei Liao was so angry that his face turned pale. "Honey, are you okay?" This was the first time that Jiang Shaowei saw Wei Liao so angry. Jiang Shaowei's heart ached. If it were someone else, she would have already gone to help her husband. Jiang Shaowei's scolding skills were on par with Hu Min's. However, Shin Mingxi was Lord Su's buddy and he was here for the wedding. It wouldn't be good for either of them to make things too awkward, so Jiang Shaowei kept quiet. "Honey, I'm fine." Wei Liao turned his head and looked at Jiang Shaowei with a gentle expression. "Dad, don't be angry." Wei Yunchu reached out his little hand and touched Wei Liao's face. "Lord Su, I'm leaving now. Let Shaowei stay here, I still have work to do at the company." Wei Liao suggested that he should leave first. Su Yu knew why Wei Yunchu did this, so he didn't make things difficult for him. "Okay, I'll find you for a drink later. Let's talk and calm down." Su Yu patted Wei Liao's shoulder. "Slightly, you and your son play here. I'll pick you up later. Then drive carefully." Jiang Shaowei also knew that her husband couldn't stay any longer, so she didn't force him to stay. "When you see Hu Min and Qin Chu later, help me say hello." After that, Wei Liao turned around and left. "Master Wei is very angry today," Gao Ran commented. "Maybe you don't understand, but no matter how calm a person is, they will still feel indignant when it comes to family matters. Although my sister-in-law is arrogant and overbearing, and even I don't like her, my husband loves her very much. After all, they are blood-related siblings, and no matter what, he is better than an outsider. It's normal for him to feel uncomfortable. Maybe you don't know how much trouble my sister-in-law caused at home when she just got divorced," Jiang Shaowei said as she bit her lip. "I know, I heard that she slit her wrists and took sleeping pills. She even jumped off the second-floor rooftop of the mansion. Is that true?" Tang Chuan had always been an encyclopedia in the industry, so nothing could escape his ears. Jiang Shaowei nodded. "Damn, she took sleeping pills, slit her wrists and jumped off a building. Your sister-in-law is also a ruthless person." Zhu Lingling was dumbfounded. "My sister-in-law has been spoiled since she was young. She can't get anything she wants. This time the setback at the Shin family was a big blow to her. That's why she's acting like a crazy person. The people who are most upset by her behavior are none other than her family members. My in-laws are already mentally and physically exhausted because of her, and my husband is also worried about her." Jiang Shaowei sighed. After Shin Mingxi and Hui Yanyan entered the venue, they ran into some business acquaintances. Shin Mingxi went over to greet them and Hui Yanyan took some pastries to eat. After Hu Min finished his work, he happened to see Hui Yanyan alone, so he walked over to her. "Yang," he said with a serious expression. Hui Yanyan looked up and saw Hu Min. She immediately put down the pastries in her hands as if she knew what Huamin was going to say. I really didn't expect you to be a mistress. Huamin looked at Hui Yanyan in disappointment. Chapter 2263. So that's what you think of me as well? Hui Yanyan's eyes darkened. She seemed disappointed in Huamin as well. The two of them stood in a corner of the hotel. It was a quiet corner and a good place to talk. It had been a long time since Huamin saw Hui Yanyan. The truth was Huamin wanted to talk to her as soon as she walked in. But he didn't want her and Shin Mingxi to think too much. Now was the perfect time to talk to her. Whatever grudges they had in the past, they were all resolved, especially when Hui Yanyan risked her life to save the twins. Huamin was very grateful to her. Then after Huisi died, Hui Yanyan disappeared. She thought Hui Yanyan hated her, but today she didn't see any hatred in Hui Yanyan's eyes and attitude. Yanyan, what happened? Why did you choose this path? You need money, but I have it. I've already prepared a place for you in Tian, and I've even arranged a job for you. I don't think you're someone who's driven by money. Don't tell me you're with Shin Mingxi for money. I'm not with him for money, Hui Yanyan answered calmly. Then is it for revenge? Against Wei Ying? Huamin asked. A little. But not everything. Then is it because of you? Huamin seemed to suddenly realize something. Hui Yanyan looked up at Huamin and smiled bitterly. It's funny, isn't it? I'm almost 30 and my daughter is 4 years old. How can I still believe in love? Then do you really think he's someone you can entrust your life to? You know, it's not that easy to enter the Shin family. You can't be a mistress for the rest of your life, right? How can Tian face other people in the future? Huamian thought she might be a little too righteous, but she still felt that being a third party was too shameful. Mian, I'm not a mistress. I moved in with Mingxi after he got divorced. But if it weren't for you, would Shin Mingxi divorce Wei Ying? Huamin asked calmly. Hui Yanyan remained silent. Mian, not everyone is as lucky as you to have Qin Chu's protection at a young age. Mingxi treats me very well and I don't care about his status anymore. I don't dare to dream of marriage, but it's good to be by his side all the time. Hui Yanyan lowered her head, her voice getting lower and lower, perhaps because she knew she was in the wrong. You're still young and there are many good men out there. Why do you have to be with him? I think, not only are you involved in the Shin family and the Wei family, but you're also the scapegoat. People who don't know the truth will think you're a vixen. Plus, with Wei Ying's temper, I don't think she'll let you go. Why do you have to put yourself in danger? Huamin analyzed the situation for her. I understand what you're saying, but I can't let it go. Mian, you know how much I was obsessed with him before I got married. It's still the same now. My scumbag ex-husband came back to bully me and my daughter. He asked us for money through things and even brought a bunch of hooligans to scare us. He stood up for us. My daughter and I are weak and need someone to protect us. I can't say no to his kindness, so you once again fell into your love. Hui Yanyan nodded. Okay, if that's the case, I have nothing else to say. Huamin sighed slightly. Mian, tell me the truth, do you really look down on me? Hui Yanyan looked at Huamin and asked. Chapter 2264. No, Yanyan, don't think that way. I'm just worried about your situation. Forget it, since things are already like this, we can't change anything. Anyways, remember to take good care of yourself in Tian. If you need anything, come to me. Huamin saw that Hui Yanyan had made up her mind about Shin Mingxi, so he didn't try to persuade her anymore. He just hoped that she would be careful. My will. Ying. Shin Mingxi called her name from not far away. Then I'll go over now, Mian. Hui Yanyan nodded and left. Huamin walked over to Qin Chu, who was not far away. Is my wife trying to persuade her to turn over a new leaf? Qin Chu asked as he put his arm around Huamin's shoulder. Your wife isn't that great, but I don't think Yanyan should have made this choice. Okay, we're all adults and have the right to choose our own lives. Whether it's right or wrong, we have to be responsible. I understand. Huamin nodded. Good boy, don't be depressed. The wedding ceremony is coming up and our babies are going to go on stage. How are the preparations going? The bride is putting on her makeup and Jixin is changing. After hearing Qin Chu's words, Huamin nodded and followed Qin Chu to help with the reception. At Ni Yang's wedding, there were a lot of media outlets and even more celebrities in the industry. Huamin was relieved that Mo Schweiger didn't come, or else he would have been heartbroken. Inside the makeup room, Jishin, who had just changed into his best man's outfit, suddenly felt a sharp pain in his stomach. "Okay, what's wrong?" Bridesmaid Qin looked at him curiously. "I think I have a stomachache, I need to go to the washroom, huh? But, you're going on stage soon, there's not enough time." Qin frowned. However, Jishin couldn't take it anymore and ran straight to the washroom. Tang Chuan patted Qin shoulder. "Don't worry. V can't, there's still me. We're the bridesmaid and best man. What a perfect match. Go away." Qin was used to Tang Chuan's playful behavior and thought he was joking. However, after waiting for about 10 minutes, Jishin still hadn't returned. "Everyone take your positions. The ceremony will begin in 3 minutes, the planner shouted into the headset. "Why isn't Jishin back yet? I'm so worried, he's not coming back. He has diarrhea. How do you know he's having diarrhea?" Qin turned her head. "Tang Chuan. Okay, did you do something to it?" Qin pressed. "I actually didn't do anything. I just gave him a cup of sausage tea." You're so despicable." Qin gritted her teeth in anger. "He didn't want to swap places with me and insisted on being the best man. I had no choice. You're the bridesmaid. I can't give you to someone else." Tang Chuan explained. Before Qin could say anything, Qinjie stood up. Ning, it's time for us to go in, okay?" Then Qin turned around and pointed at Tang Chuan. "Just you wait. I'm going to teach you a lesson. President Qin, feel free to pounce on me." Tang Chuan smirked. Qinjie slowly walked onto the stage amidst the romantic piano music. Pudding and Little Bean wore little angel-like wedding dresses with garlands on their heads. Each of them held a small flower basket and scattered flower petals on the ground. As the bridesmaid, Qin wore a long lavender dress. She followed behind the bride, holding the hem of her dress. At this moment, Qinjie was beautiful. With a bright smile on her face, she slowly walked towards Ni Yang. With everyone's blessings, every step she took was like a halo. "Sis, don't you think we look so dumb when we scatter flower petals?" Little Bean whispered. "You're tuning in to the Biao's Wuxiao Chronicles YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.